There are places on this planet where silence lingers longer than it should. Towns where the air feels heavy, where the ground itself seems to remember the screams. History isn't always about kings and revolutions. Sometimes it's about the things we try to forget, the unspeakable, the horrors that unfold not in battlefields, but in villages, homes, and towns. Tonight, we're peeling back the veil on 5 of the most disturbing massacres in human history. March 16, 1968. In the middle of the Vietnam War, American soldiers from Charlie Company entered a small village called My Lai. Intelligence reports had convinced them that the village was harboring Viet Cong guerrillas, but when they arrived, they found nothing but unarmed civilians. What followed was 4 hours of horror. Over 500 people were murdered, women, elderly men, and children. Infants were thrown into ditches. Women were raped, mutilated, then shot. Some families were herded into their homes, grenades tossed in after them. No Viet Cong were ever found, no weapons. It was a massacre, plain and brutal. And what's worse, it was covered up. For over a year, the military denied it ever happened. It took a whistleblower, a young soldier named Ronald Ridenhour, to expose the truth. Even then, only one officer, Lieutenant William Calley, was convicted. He served just 3 years under house arrest. The My Lai Massacre shattered America's image of moral superiority. It wasn't just a wartime tragedy, it was a mirror held up to the darkest corners of human obedience and silence. A civil war was raging in El Salvador, and the government feared that small rural villages were aiding leftist rebels. On December 11, 1981, a US-trained unit known as the Atlacatl Battalion descended upon the village of El Mozote. They told residents to gather in the central square. They promised they were only conducting a search. Then they separated the men, women, and children. What came next is almost unspeakable. Men were tortured and shot. Women were raped and then executed. Children, some as young as 2 years old, were killed, some hacked to death, others thrown against walls. Over 800 civilians were murdered. The Salvadoran government denied everything. Forensic teams in the 1990s later exhumed mass graves, confirming the scale and cruelty of the atrocity. In some graves, children were found stacked like firewood. The silence around El Mozote lasted for years. And when the truth emerged, it was a chilling reminder of how easy it is to bury not just bodies, but justice. In the midst of the American Civil War, far from the eastern battlefields, a different kind of war was being waged against Native Americans. On November 29, 1864, over 700 members of the Colorado Territory Militia attacked a peaceful encampment of Cheyenne and Arapaho people at Sand Creek. The tribes had been assured protection. They were flying white flags. They were unarmed. It didn't matter. The soldiers opened fire at dawn. Nearly 230 Native Americans were killed, 2/3 of them women and children. Victims were mutilated in grotesque ways. Body parts were taken as trophies. Babies were not spared. The US government initially celebrated the attack, but when eyewitnesses from within the military came forward, public outrage grew. Investigations followed, but no one was truly held accountable. The Sand Creek Massacre was not just an atrocity. It was a betrayal, a deliberate, calculated slaughter carried out under the pretense of protection. Europe, 1995. Decades after World War II, the continent once again saw genocide. The town of Srebrenica in Bosnia had been declared a UN safe zone. Over 25,000 Bosniak Muslims had taken refuge there, believing the blue helmets of the United Nations would protect them. Then came the Serb forces, led by General Ratko Mladic. The UN peacekeepers stood by as the soldiers separated men and boys from the women. The women were bussed out. The men were taken into forests, warehouses, and fields. What followed was systematic slaughter. Over 8,000 were executed. Bulldozers pushed bodies into mass graves. Some victims were buried alive. Others were forced to dig their own graves. The world watched and hesitated. It was the worst massacre on European soil since the Holocaust. Years later, international courts would convict some of the perpetrators. But justice can't bring back the dead. And Srebrenica remains a wound that never fully closed. Jakarta wasn't always a bustling metropolis. In the 18th century, it was Batavia, a colonial hub controlled by the Dutch East India Company. Tensions were rising between the Dutch and the ethnic Chinese community, who were growing in number and influence. Paranoia took hold. Dutch officials feared a rebellion, so they acted first. From October 9 to October 22, 1740, Dutch soldiers and local militias went on a killing spree. Over 10,000 Chinese residents were slaughtered in their homes, on the streets, or dragged into the canals. Some were burned alive, others were decapitated. The rivers ran red. The massacre lasted for nearly 2 weeks. Entire neighborhoods were emptied. Afterward, the city tried to return to normal, but Batavia was never the same. Ghost stories still persist in the old quarters, whispers of souls who never left. It wasn't a battlefield. It was a purge done in plain sight. The Batavia Massacre shows how fear, when mixed with power, can justify almost anything. These 5 massacres didn't happen in the heat of battle. They happened in places of supposed peace. They happened because of fear, power, obedience, and hate. And they remain chilling not just for the death toll, but for how easily humanity can turn on itself when morality is cast aside. Throughout history, the idea of a dark force tempting people into doing evil has existed in nearly every culture. Some describe the devil as a symbolic embodiment of our worst instincts. Others insist he is a real entity, an enemy of good, whose purpose is to corrupt and destroy. While modern science and near-death studies often suggest that there's no actual being named Satan, many people throughout the centuries believed otherwise. And in some terrifying cases, they claim to have met him face to face. Here are 5 of the darkest, most chilling encounters with the devil ever recorded in history. Perhaps the most iconic tale of making a deal with the devil is the legend of Johann Georg Faust, a real man who lived in the early 1500s. He was an alchemist, astrologer, and scholar rumored to have made a pact with the devil in exchange for ultimate knowledge and magical abilities. It is believed that Faust summoned a demon named Mephistopheles and struck a deal. In exchange for his soul, Faust would receive 24 years of unlimited knowledge, power, and pleasure. At the end of those years, the devil would come to claim what was promised. After sealing the pact, Faust traveled across Europe, displaying incredible abilities that defied explanation. He turned wine into gold, healed the sick, summoned spirits, flew through the air, and read minds. He could speak many languages without having learned them, and he performed tricks in royal courts that stunned even the most skeptical onlookers. But as the end of the 24 years drew near, Faust became paranoid. He tried to run, but the devil never forgets a deal. One night at an inn near Wittenberg, locals reported screams coming from his room. The next day, his body was discovered under mysterious and unsettling conditions. The room was left in disarray, and the air was thick with the scent of something unnatural. His body was badly disfigured, as if something not of this world had left its mark. His story became a warning passed down for centuries. The devil always comes to collect. The town of Loudun in France was the site of a bizarre and disturbing series of events involving alleged demonic possession and a man accused of summoning Satan. Urbain Grandier, a Catholic priest, was a controversial figure in Loudun, charming, intelligent, and outspoken. He also made enemies in both religious and political circles. When a group of Ursuline nuns claimed they were being tormented by demons, they accused Grandier of bringing Satan into their convent. A full investigation began, and the situation spiraled out of control. Witnesses described the nuns convulsing, speaking in unknown languages, and screaming of visions of demonic figures. Public exorcisms were held, but some claimed these were more theatrical than spiritual. Despite a lack of real evidence, Grandier was found guilty of witchcraft and of making a pact with the devil. He was tortured and then burned at the stake. Whether the events at Loudun were caused by mass hysteria, political scheming, or something darker remains a mystery. But for many, it felt as if evil had come to their town in human form. One of the oldest written stories of a pact with the devil comes from Theophilus of Adana, a clergyman in the Byzantine Empire. Passed over for promotion in the church, Theophilus was bitter and humiliated. According to legend, he consulted a sorcerer who helped him contact Satan directly. Theophilus then signed a contract, written in his own blood, renouncing Christ and the Virgin Mary in exchange for ecclesiastical power and influence. Years later, filled with remorse, he sought redemption. After long prayers and fasting, the Virgin Mary was said to appear to him in a vision and forgive him. Theophilus tore up the demonic contract and died shortly after. Gilles de Rais was a decorated French knight and companion of Joan of Arc. But after her death, something in him changed. His life took a dark and horrifying turn. Accused of practicing alchemy, black magic, and even satanic rituals, de Rais was eventually arrested and tried for the horrific murders of numerous children. During his trial, he confessed to summoning demons in attempts to gain power and wealth. Witnesses described rooms decorated with occult symbols and rituals involving the summoning of infernal beings. Whether his confessions were true or coerced is debated to this day. He was found guilty and executed in 1440. During the infamous Salem witch trials, several accused women claimed they had encountered a dark figure they called the Black Man. This wasn't just a person in black clothing. It was described as a shadowy being who promised them power in exchange for signing his book. According to their testimonies, he would appear in the woods, offering deals and demanding loyalty. While many now believe these stories were products of hysteria, religious fear, or manipulation, the details remain haunting. The Black Man was consistently described as appearing suddenly, speaking in a calm but terrifying tone, and disappearing without a trace. The accused claimed they were pressured to do his bidding or face horrible consequences. These stories helped fuel the panic that led to the deaths of 20 people and the imprisonment of many others. The Black Man, whether real or imagined, played the role of the devil in one of the darkest chapters of early American history. Each of these stories explores a different kind of darkness: the hunger for power, the fear of evil, and the chilling idea that something, whether real or imagined, might be lurking just beyond the edge of human understanding, waiting for us to make a deal we can never undo.
Hello everyone. Today we're diving into 5 archaeological mysteries that science still hasn't been able to explain. Let's begin with one of the most haunting mass death sites on Earth. High in the Indian Himalayas, near the edge of civilization, lies a small glacial lake with an eerie name, Skeleton Lake, known officially as Roopkund. It holds a chilling secret. Literally, every summer when the snow melts, human bones emerge from the ice. Hundreds of skeletons scattered along the shoreline, their skulls and limbs bleached by the sun. They have no weapons, no clear cause of death, and no records of who they were. Initially discovered in the 1940s, researchers were baffled. Carbon dating revealed the remains belonged to multiple groups who died centuries apart, some over 1,000 years ago, others from just a few hundred years back, and they weren't all local. DNA tests showed some had Mediterranean ancestry, raising questions about how they ended up at this remote, high-altitude lake. The most widely accepted theory? A massive hailstorm. Many of the skulls have identical fractures at the top, as if they were struck by something falling from above. Local legends speak of divine punishment raining down on a royal procession, and strangely, the story aligns with the forensic evidence. But even that doesn't explain everything. Why did multiple groups die here, centuries apart? Why were they traveling this treacherous path in the first place? And what drew such a diverse crowd to such an isolated place? Roopkund remains a mass grave, frozen in time and mystery. Some mysteries stem from legends passed down through generations. One such legend comes from the Paiute people of North America, who spoke of a race of red-haired giants known as the Saika. According to Paiute oral tradition, these beings were over 10 feet tall and lived in the region long before recorded history. They were said to be fierce and even cannibalistic, often raiding Paiute settlements. Eventually, the Paiute tribes united and trapped the last of the Sateca in Lovelock cave, setting it ablaze to seal them inside forever. In 1911, miners collecting bat guano from the cave stumbled upon human remains, massive skulls, and oversized artifacts. Some of these skulls were reported to be much larger than modern human skulls, with jawbones that could fit over a normal face. Traces of red hair were allegedly found on some remains, an unusual trait among the native population. Excavations uncovered sandals over 15 inches long, large tools, and intricately woven duck decoys that suggested a highly skilled culture. However, the largest and most controversial finds, the oversized bones, have since vanished, with claims that they were removed or hidden away. Mainstream archaeology identifies the site as a shelter used by the Northern Paiute around 2,000 years ago, attributing the remains to normal-sized humans. But conflicting accounts and missing evidence have led many to speculate that something more mysterious was at play. Were the Sitka giants real? Perhaps not giants in the mythological sense, but a tall, light-haired race with unknown origins? Or were they an ancient population now lost to time, their memory preserved in legend? Whatever the truth, Lovelock Cave remains a place where myth and reality blur. Not all ancient skeletal discoveries speak of beings larger than life. Some hint at the opposite, at humans who were far smaller than expected, their very existence challenging conventional anthropology. One such mystery emerged in Australia, where researchers discovered what appeared to be a 10,000-year-old skeleton of a dwarf-like being, one that did not fit into any known category of ancient human. The skeleton was found in an ancient burial site and was initially assumed to be that of a child. But further analysis revealed it belonged to a fully grown adult standing only around 3 feet tall. The skeletal structure did not match those of modern pygmies or known forms of dwarfism. The skull had a distinct shape, different from both modern humans and any archaic human species previously recorded. Some researchers believe it could represent a lost lineage of small-statured humans, possibly similar to the Homo floresiensis found in Indonesia. If true, it would suggest that multiple groups of tiny hominins once existed across the ancient world. Adding to the mystery, Aboriginal traditions in Australia speak of mimi spirits, or little people who lived in caves and remote areas long before modern humans arrived. These legends describe ancient beings who were tiny, elusive, and deeply connected to the land. Could these stories be cultural memories of real encounters with such beings? Skeptics argue it could have been a case of pathological dwarfism, a rare genetic condition, and that without additional remains, it is impossible to confirm a new species. However, others point out that the skeleton has not been made widely available for scientific study and may have been placed in a private collection, limiting further research. Whether it was an anomaly, an unknown branch of humanity, or a clue to forgotten human diversity, this 10,000-year-old discovery leaves more questions than answers. Beneath the temple of Seti in Abydos lies something much older and far stranger, the Osirion. Unlike other temples from ancient Egypt, this one is hidden underground, built from enormous granite blocks that seem completely out of place. These stones, some weighing over 60 tons, are not decorated with hieroglyphs or carvings. There are no inscriptions explaining their purpose. They are simply cut and fitted together with uncanny precision, in a style more reminiscent of Peru's megaliths or Lebanon's Baalbek than anything else in Egypt. Mainstream archaeologists credit Pharaoh Seti with its construction. But here's the problem. The architectural style of the Osirion is nothing like the rest of Seti's temple. It looks older, much older. Some researchers believe it predates dynastic Egypt entirely, possibly built in a time when the Nile flowed higher before the desert buried the landscape. Egyptian mythology even hints at an earlier era known as Zep Tepi, the first time when gods like Osiris ruled the land. Was this temple a remnant of that forgotten age? Adding to the mystery, much of the Osirion is permanently submerged in water. Some think this was intentional, perhaps part of a ritual to honor the underworld god Osiris. Others argue it's simply a result of rising groundwater. Whatever the truth is, the Osirion remains an outlier in Egyptian history, a structure that doesn't fit with the rest. Among the artifacts of the Viking Age, few are as baffling as the Ulfberht swords. These weapons, found across northern Europe, bear a signature inscription. But it's not the name that stuns researchers, it's the metal. Unlike other medieval blades, the real Ulfberht swords were made from crucible steel, a type of high-carbon steel that was so pure it wouldn't be seen in Europe again until the Industrial Revolution. Where did the Vikings get this knowledge? Their own ironwork at the time was crude compared to these masterpieces. Some theories suggest they traded with regions like Persia or India, where crucible steel was being produced centuries earlier. Others believe the swords were imported whole, smuggled through trade routes, or stolen in battle. What complicates things further is that not all Ulfberht swords are the same. Many are fakes, inferior blades that carry the same inscription, likely to boost their value. But the genuine articles? They're engineering marvels. Even today, blacksmiths struggle to recreate them using only the tools available in the 9th century. Did a secret group of swordsmiths exist? Or did the knowledge of crucible steel briefly flash through Europe before vanishing into obscurity? These 5 mysteries challenge our understanding of ancient technology, human history, and what early civilizations were truly capable of. They remind us that for every answer we find, a dozen more questions rise from the dirt. Maybe history isn't written in stone after all. Maybe it's still being uncovered, piece by piece, mystery by mystery.
We like to think that science has all the answers, or at least eventually will. Yet there are phenomena that still baffle even the brightest minds. Today we explore 5 mysteries that science has struggled and continues to struggle to fully explain. These events are strange, fascinating, and utterly perplexing. Few mysteries are as eerie or unsettling as spontaneous human combustion. For centuries, sporadic reports have described people bursting into flames without external cause, their bodies reduced to ash, often leaving their surroundings relatively unharmed. Witnesses describe intense, localized fires, sometimes leaving behind just a limb untouched. Explanations range from the scientific, such as static electricity, ketosis-related chemical reactions, or the wick effect, where clothing ignited by a small flame slowly burns the body, to more paranormal interpretations involving unknown energies. Yet no theory has fully explained these incidents convincingly. Though rare, documented cases continue to emerge, leaving even seasoned investigators bewildered and disturbed. Perhaps most compelling are cases involving children who vividly recall supposed past lives, often with shocking accuracy. Researchers like Dr. Ian Stevenson have documented thousands of cases worldwide, especially in cultures that believe in reincarnation. These children described intricate details of lives they couldn't possibly know, names, places, events, and even exact manners of death. In several remarkable instances, these details matched real deceased individuals. For example, a young boy might identify family members from his previous life or accurately describe places he'd never visited. Skeptics suggest coincidence, parental influence, or false memories, but these explanations often fall short given the precise, verifiable details involved. The phenomenon challenges our very understanding of consciousness and memory, posing questions that remain scientifically unresolved. Imagine signals from deep space, powerful bursts of radio waves lasting mere milliseconds, yet carrying more energy than our sun releases in days. Fast radio bursts, or FRBs, have intrigued astronomers since their discovery in 2007. They've been detected coming from galaxies billions of light years away. Some appear just once, never to be observed again. Others repeat intermittently. But what's causing them? Theories range from magnetars, highly magnetized neutron stars, to black holes, or even collisions between neutron stars. And yes, there's been speculation about alien communication. Despite international research efforts and advanced telescopes, we remain in the dark about FRB's true nature. Each new burst deepens the cosmic mystery, reminding us how little we know about our universe. A mysterious, low-frequency humming sound heard only by a fraction of people around the globe. From Taos, New Mexico to Bristol in the UK, thousands have reported this unsettling, continuous noise. Those who hear the hum describe it as a distant diesel engine or a persistent vibration felt deep within their bones. Yet instruments usually detect nothing unusual, leaving scientists puzzled. Possible explanations include geological shifts, industrial machinery, military communications, or psychological phenomena like tinnitus. But no theory fully explains why the hum affects only certain individuals, or why it persists even in remote areas devoid of industry. For now, the hum remains a frustrating puzzle, an acoustic mystery that refuses to be silenced. Almost everyone experiences this strange sensation, the feeling that the present moment has happened before. Deja vu, French for already seen, feels like living through a vivid memory. Neuroscientists theorize it could be a glitch in the brain's memory processes, or perhaps misfiring neurons causing your brain to mistakenly match new experiences to past events. Yet, none of these theories are fully proven. Some researchers suggest it's related to dreams, subconscious memory recall, or the brain momentarily short-circuiting between short-term and long-term memory. Others speculate it could hint at deeper mysteries, such as parallel universes or the nature of time itself. Whatever the explanation, deja vu continues to captivate and confound scientists and philosophers alike. These 5 phenomena remind us that, despite humanity's incredible scientific advances, many mysteries remain beyond our grasp. From cosmic signals to eerie psychological experiences, our world and universe remain filled with questions that defy simple answers. Perhaps one day we'll solve these mysteries, but until then, they serve as fascinating reminders that the universe is stranger and more wondrous than we can possibly imagine.
Space is vast, infinite, and full of secrets. Every time we look up into the night sky, we're reminded of how little we truly understand about the universe we inhabit. While humanity has made incredible discoveries about the cosmos, there are still phenomena out there so strange, so eerie, they defy explanation. Today, we're diving into 5 of the most haunting mysteries lurking in the depths of space. Let's travel back to August 15, 1977. When humanity may have received its first potential message from extraterrestrial intelligence. Astronomer Jerry Eman, scanning the skies at Ohio State University's Big Ear radio telescope, detected a mysterious radio signal coming from the Sagittarius constellation. This powerful, narrowband signal lasted exactly 72 seconds. Astonished by its intensity and unusual characteristics, exactly what you'd expect from an artificial source, Eman scribbled, "Wow," next to the data printout, hence the name. Despite extensive searches and decades of waiting, the signal was never detected again. Was it truly an alien message or simply cosmic noise? Scientists remain baffled, but the WOW signal continues to symbolize humanity's search for answers beyond Earth. In July 1976, NASA's Viking 1 orbiter captured something chilling. An enormous formation on Mars, eerily resembling a human face, staring up into space. This instantly sparked widespread speculation about ancient civilizations once existing on Mars. The face on Mars quickly became a cultural phenomenon, with theories ranging from forgotten Martian empires to alien monuments intended for humans to find. Subsequent images taken by later Mars missions revealed that the face was actually a natural rock formation, shaped by shadows and erosion. But for some, questions linger. Could this structure have been artificially altered or built in some way we still can't grasp? The controversy continues, and this strange Martian landmark remains etched into our imagination, a haunting reminder of what mysteries might still lie buried beneath the Martian sands. Somewhere hidden behind our Milky Way galaxy lies something so massive and mysterious. It's pulling galaxies, including our own, toward it at astonishing speeds. Scientists call it the Great Attractor, an invisible force of immense power. Imagine a cosmic current dragging thousands of galaxies toward an unseen destination, located around 220 million light-years away. Yet, due to the dense core of our own galaxy filled with thick cosmic dust, our view is obscured, leaving astronomers unable to pinpoint exactly what it is. Could it be a massive cluster of galaxies, an unknown structure made of dark matter, or perhaps something stranger? What makes the Great Attractor so unsettling is precisely its invisibility. We sense its presence only by observing its gravitational effects, leaving scientists to speculate wildly about its true nature. Our next mystery revolves around an enigmatic star named Tabby's Star, located about 1,470 light-years away. In 2015, astronomers discovered it was dimming unpredictably and dramatically, far beyond typical stellar behavior. Normally, a star's brightness dips slightly when a planet passes in front, but Tabby's star dimmed by up to 22% at times, far too much to be explained by planets alone. Some scientists suggested a mind-bending theory. Could this dimming be caused by an alien megastructure, a Dyson sphere, designed to harness energy from the star? Others propose swarms of comets, massive planetary collisions, or unknown astrophysical phenomena. Despite ongoing observation, no definitive explanation has emerged, leaving Tabby's star as one of the cosmos's most puzzling and tantalizing mysteries. Finally, we confront perhaps the most unsettling mystery on our list, the Boots Void. Imagine an enormous emptiness stretching over 330 million light-years across. Typically, even cosmic voids hold hundreds or thousands of galaxies, but this vast region of space is almost entirely empty, home to only a handful of galaxies. First discovered in 1981, the Boots Void presents a profound mystery. Why is this enormous area of the universe virtually devoid of matter? Some astronomers hypothesize that galaxies once existed there, but were mysteriously annihilated or absorbed by unknown forces. Others suggest the chilling possibility of advanced civilizations capable of altering entire cosmic regions. Whatever the reason, staring into the Boots Void is like gazing into the abyss itself, raising unsettling questions about the nature of our universe and the secrets it may conceal. Space may be silent, cold, and seemingly empty, but it's filled with secrets waiting to be uncovered. If these cosmic riddles teach us anything, it's humility. The universe remains unimaginably vast, endlessly mysterious, and infinitely more eerie than we can possibly imagine. Thanks for watching, and remember, keep looking up because the answers are out there, waiting in the dark.